And real quick, a quick follow up to potentially clear up some potential misinformation or floating around the conscious community. There's a lot of Hebrew Israelites that say that they believe that Jerusalem is in South Africa, Jerusalem is in Ethiopia, Jerusalem is in West Africa. Do you know of anything in the Ethiopic codex of literature that, or oral traditions that specifies that Jerusalem is in Ethiopia or in Africa anywhere?
Absolutely not. And there's actually a lot of evidence to the contrary of that. That again, even for example, the text that I mentioned, the Keber Nagash, which is from the 14th century, the 1300s CE, it tells the story of the again the Queen of Sheba and Solomon, and it actually tells a story about their son Menelik, who actually later on went from Ethiopia up to Jerusalem. And there's no sense, again, they're talking about him going from Ethiopia to Jerusalem, through the Arabian Peninsula and through Egypt. And so there's no sense whatsoever in Ethiopian sources themselves that indicate that Jerusalem is actually in Africa, because they describe Jerusalem as another place. And around that same time, when the Keber Nagash was written, there was a whole city that was constructed called Lalibela, and Lalibela was built in as the capital of Ethiopia. And that was, right kind of towards the end of the Crusades, like in the 12th century. And, Crusades, between Islamic forces in the East and Western European Christians in the West. And a big issue in the Crusades was pilgrimage. That's what the Europeans, the excuse they were using for fighting the Crusades was the pilgrims can't go to Jerusalem to visit. And in Ethiopia also did the same thing. They valued pilgrimage to Jerusalem and going to these holy sites from the Bible. But, because the Crusades really limited Christians' ability to visit Jerusalem, including even Ethiopians, they built the city of Lalibela to be a Jerusalem in Ethiopia. So that could be because a lot of times in different communities, Hebrews like Kemetic, they will sometimes use like a kernel of truth, but then twist it. And so again, King Lalibela built Lalibela to be like a Jerusalem in Africa, but there was no sense that actually was Jerusalem. But it was to be like a pilgrimage site for Ethiopians if they can't get to Jerusalem. So even the fact that in and of itself shows that Ethiopians themselves did not consider Jerusalem to be in Africa. And constantly any Ethiopian source or text would refer to Jerusalem as a place that's up in the Near East, in the Levant, and not in Africa. So I think that I think it's really important for a lot of these communities who have these ideas and all of that, to really, my encouragement to them also is to base their their ideas and base their theories on primary sources, especially from the context, because a lot of times these different communities will base their claims on Western or white or European sources, which is counterproductive, I think, and contradictory, because they want to celebrate and elevate Black identity and Black sources and Black history. Well, if you actually read Black sources, like from Ethiopia, the Keber Nagash is just one of many that they would claim that Jerusalem is up in the Levant and not in sub-Saharan Africa. So I think these communities should be careful to base their opinions on African sources themselves.
Thank you very much for clearing that up. Very, very much.